Greetings to all of my learned magic friends out there. You are watching Erudite Magic. If you're new to the channel, we absolutely love having you here. This channel is all about magic in the printed word. And if you're returning, hey, it's great to have you back. Today I've got something really exciting for you. It's something brand new. I'm not even sure if there's a review on it yet. Oh man, another Vanishing Inc book. You know we're all about that life. Let's get into it. If magic books are your thing, consider clicking the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future videos. I always ensure that I've read a book before I opine on it. That way you know you're getting the straight truth. This could be the very first video review of this particular book. The book I'm talking about today is Vanishing Inc's latest release by Doug Dyment called Calculated Thoughts. I think the majority of magicians are very familiar with Vanishing Inc. They may be less familiar with Doug. So I believe a brief introduction is in order here. I believe he was a computer programmer, but for sure he is a practicing psychic entertainer and a member of the Psychic Entertainer Association. He runs the website thedeceptionary.com. He has self-published a number of small booklets about the art of mentalism, typically are yellow and contain a lot of really great mentalism. So what's this book? This book is a compilation of those pamphlets that he previously put out, along with all of his updated thinking and things that he has come up with since then. If you've ever visited the Deceptionary, you know that some of these booklets can be a little bit pricey, so to have them all in one bound volume is a real win for mentalists and magicians who like to perform mental magic. The word of the day for this particular book is critical, as given by Doug himself in the book. The book itself is about 400 pages, and it is approximately the same dimensions as a Tarbell, although it feels slightly heftier. So I said that it is a compilation of his booklets that he's previously published. It isn't everything that was in those booklets. This is really a best of. The illustrations are done by Tony Dunn and Doug himself. I believe some of the older illustrations that were pulled straight from the pamphlets that he put out are done by Doug, and the newer ones for the book were done by Tony Dunn. The book is broken down into a number of different segments. The first section is all about magic squares, and if you think you know what a magic square is, you really don't if you haven't read what Doug has to say about it. He's going to give you all kinds of ways to deploy a magic square, everything from walk around to a stage setting that plays really large. He'll help you figure out ways that you can create your own, present your own, and you will definitely find a way that the magic square can work for you. The first 60 pages or so are devoted to this magic square concept, and it becomes, after a while, it becomes a little repetitive. One of the things that I found about the book personally, at least the first half to 2/3, it felt a little bit academic. What I mean by that is that you aren't going to do all of the ways that he is teaching you to do something. So it's a little bit like going to college and having multiple ways to do things laid out for you. And now you just have to decide on what you want to do and deploy that. But you're probably not going to want to read through all of it. It becomes slightly repetitive. There's a reason for each one of his descriptions to exist. I'm not taking away from that. I just think that most people are going to focus in on one aspect or way to present it, and that's what they're going to go with. So that's how I recommend you use the book. He even teaches you how to give a psychic reading using a magic square that's derived from the person's birth date. That gives you a little bit of the flavor. There's not a ton of mental magic in this, although certainly mental magicians could deploy what's being taught in this book. The next 60 or so pages are devoted to different stacks for cards. Most of them do not require any true memory work in terms of rote memory. Doug walks you through all the different ways that you could memorize a pack of cards and why his methods are better than everyone else's. I think this section, while it has applications for everyone, will certainly be more fruitful for someone who's not taken the plunge yet or dedicated the time to learning one of the more traditional stacks like an Aronson, Mnemonica, or Redford stack. He's going to teach you how to do some stacks that have more benefits than your standard 8 kings or Sai Stebbins or things like that. They'll actually allow you to calculate the value of where a card resides in a deck without having to memorize all 52 locations. So if that's your thing, there's a lot to like about this. There are several of these stacks, so as I said previously, you end up with a lot of repetition. I don't think anyone is going to want to use all of the stacks that he teaches. You'll find one that works for you and then deploy that. So you have some options. There's also some Zener card stacks, which are the standard ESP cards that we've all come to know and love. The following 40 pages are specific plots and tricks with various stacks of cards. He teaches you a couple of poker deals that work very well, could play for a large audience. One of them is very similar to John Bannon and Dave Solomon's The Power of Poker. He gives you a few more options than what you find in the Bannon and Solomon creation, and explains how you could repeat the trick. It's a really easy, self-working poker deal, and it plays very well. There's an unfathomable pick-a-card routine with 3 participants choosing cards, and you're able to divine them basically completely hands-off. There's a tarot card prediction effect, and a couple of effects with ESP cards. All of the tricks in this section are pretty easy to do, and won't require a ton of mental dexterity, although you will need to know some things that he will teach you in the book. Quarto is 45 pages dedicated to teaching you a couple of versions of his R2-D2 center tear. I was most excited about this section because I am a big fan of the center tear. I use Richard Osterland's perfected center tear, but I've always read on the Deceptionary about how superior Doug's center tear is to all others. After reading it, I certainly think it's good. I don't think that I'm going to switch to his anytime soon, but it does give me options as well as some presentational tips. So if you already do a center tear, there's a lot to like about the thinking behind it, as well as learning the methodology. If you don't know a center tear, this is probably one of the best ones to learn. It's flexible, easy to do, well taught, and certainly has many of the advantages that he says it does on his website. I'd like to thank my friend Don over at Don's Magic and Books for sponsoring this episode of Erudite Magic. Don offers a wide variety of books, both used and new, as well as some props, so you want to be sure to check out his website frequently to see what he has to offer. Thanks, Don, for your support. Back to the review. There's a section in here about using the Zener cards or ESP cards as a divination for readings. Although I perform mentalism and even present myself as the psychic CPA, I don't often do readings in the sense that he's discussing. But if that interests you, this is a very novel way to introduce readings and set yourself apart from any potential competition at a psychic fair or other similar event. There's a small section in here about using words to do some mentalism, which is an underrepresented topic in the world of mentalism. In other words, you don't really have to have any props to do some mind reading. He teaches you how you can use a progressive anagram to divine someone's zodiac sign. Even if you don't have any intent of doing the zodiac sign revelation he teaches, it is a masterclass in how to use the thinking behind a progressive anagram. So if there are other progressive anagrams that you want to do or you like to do, this will give you some good thinking on how you should present it and pitfalls to avoid. The Mystère Melange section is what it says it is. It's assorted amazements from a number of different places. There's a completely impromptu coin flip prediction where you match your wits against someone else's that you think that you can be more psychic than them. I think this could play very well for a casual gathering, which is exactly how Doug says you should play it. There's a pretty great bank night in here. There are so many versions of bank night out there, but this gives you one more option with a solid presentational hook as well as easy to do method. Another highlight in this section is Doug's version of Bruce Bernstein's Eat at Joe's, which is a very commercial prediction type effect I have performed for a number of years in most of my shows. What Doug has done to add to the plot is allow the participants to do the mixing of the envelopes themselves without the performer having to do anything. At the end of the performance, you end up with a row of people, each holding an envelope containing a letter that spells out whatever you want it to spell. It's a great photo finish and highly commercial. There's a pretty great toolkit section where he's going to teach you his own method for marking cards, which seems pretty easy to grasp and will allow you to mark any set of bicycle cards that you want. He'll teach you how to clock a deck. The problem that I had with this section is that it's somewhat short, So if you don't already know something about clocking a deck, I'm not sure that this is going to be enough to teach you how to do it. And in fact, he recommends that you read a couple of other resources, such as some works by Paul Vigil and Harry Lorraine. What is easy enough, though, is he'll teach you how to make your own forcing matrix if you want to force a number for a certain routine, and how to design and implement your own crib sheet that's completely invisible. He starts to wind down the book by giving you a number of small essays about his thoughts on performing mentalism or mental magic, and there are some neat thoughts in there that will help you as a performer. The final section are contributions from some of his friends that he's either performed directly as they created it and then with their permission printed, or things that he's taken in a slightly different direction and again with the original creator's permission is now publishing his updated handling of those particular routines. For $60, I really think that it represents a great value, especially if you were already interested in seeing some of Doug's work. You're going to save a lot by buying this book versus buying all of the individual booklets that he has sold in the past. You can purchase this book directly from the publishers to support Vanishing Inc. and the fine folks that print so many wonderful books over there. I will include a link down below. It is an affiliate link, so I do earn a small bit. It costs you nothing, but it helps me keep the channel running, so thanks in advance for your support. It's not as fun to buy a book early in someone's career only to have to buy another $75 book later on where they tell you they've given you updated thinking on something they released before. Instead, with this book, you're going to get all of the updated thinking right now. It's already been through several iterations, so you don't have to feel like there's going to be something new coming in just another month. I'm a big fan of someone putting together a compilation. You know you're getting the best of, you know there's going to be gold in there, and that's what I think that you find in a book like this. I think everyone could benefit from hearing what Doug has to say. You'll get a lot more from it if you were already looking to hear from someone who performs as a psychic entertainer. He does give some thoughts at the end about not being afraid to give readings or why that shouldn't be some kind of a moral question for you, which I thought was very interesting reading. To me, Doug's writing style is very professorial. He uses a lot of big words. He's obviously a very intelligent person, and he's come up with a lot of really great ideas. He's not afraid to toot his own horn and let you know that his ideas are better than some of the ones that preceded it, and he's going to lay out everything that he's thought about. There's not too much that's funny or any attempts to be humorous in this. I've never seen Doug perform. I assume that he gets laughs, but in the book you won't necessarily be laughing. You will be learning, however. So it'll be a little bit like taking a course and learning lots of different ways to do things. You're probably just going to want to pick one thing, learn to do it well, and then deploy it. This book certainly offers that to you, and you'll learn it quite thoroughly. You'll get a lot of different thinking that might stretch you in different directions you haven't been pulled before. You're probably going to have to look up a few words in the dictionary. Numbers, stack work, center tears, ESP cards, tarot cards, playing cards. There's a little bit of something for everyone. I don't know what else to say about this one. I think that if you're a mentalist, you'll definitely want to check it out. If you're a magician, you're probably going to get a little less from it, but if these kind of topics interest you or you want to become a mentalist, I certainly think this could be a good step in that direction. As always though, if there's something that I did not address, please drop a comment down below and I would be happy to answer it. You know I'm an open book. If you've been getting value out of watching the channel's content, please consider clicking that like button and subscribing so I know you're watching and getting what you need out of these videos. Until next time, all my erudite friends, keep reading.